I was just looking at the panel. It's the first time, I think, at the signing ceremony, you got more women than men on the panel actually signing the agreements. So it's obviously a truly historic occasion, ladies and gentlemen, and I'd like to, of course, acknowledge the two ministers who are here with us, because their ministries will also be very pivotal in respect of rolling out this particular initiative. But I'd like to thank the individual organizations, the Women in Business, Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation, Fiji Institute of Accountants, Fiji Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and of course FRCS. The chair is over here with us. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, the COVID-19 pandemic has rolled out a huge, what we say, a left-sider to all of us. Globally speaking, no economy in the world is immune from the effects of COVID-19. Nobody, in fact, expected it to come around in this manner and indeed in this shape and have such a deleterious impact on all economies around the world. In fact, this morning I was just watching something on the World Bank had a show on which they had a number of economists and talking about the different impacts and on the different countries in the world, in different groupings in the world, developing countries, least developing countries, industrialized countries, what are the social impacts, the economic impacts, and indeed in some countries the political impacts of what is happening. So we have to be very creative. There needs to be a very collaborative approach, and I'm very glad to see that. I'd like to thank all of the organizations here. They've all come on board. The Fiji Institute of Accountants, which is the largest professional organization, professional body organization. They have over 900 members strewn across Fiji. We, of course, have the Fiji Chamber of Commerce and Industry. They have a number of private sector members within their membership. We have, of course, the Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation, which is a very old organization, employer organization that's been around in Fiji for a number of decades. And of course, we have Women in Business that has played a very pivotal role in respect of getting women, a lot of women entrepreneurs into the mainstream financial system, mainstream business sector also. I'd like to thank them for participating and indeed their willingness to assist government in a very collaborative approach that has never taken place before. So the way this scheme works, ladies and gentlemen, as announced the other day, we have now got a redefinition of what is a small enterprise, what is a micro enterprise, and indeed what is a medium enterprise. And we have, in this particular instance, have said that micro enterprises, organizations or entities or businesses that have a gross turnover up to $50,000, and then small businesses up to $300,000, and medium enterprise are those between $300,000 to $1.25 million. We have said that we'll give out concessional loan financing, as we know that a number of small and medium enterprises, existing ones, some of them do face some financial issues. They have some financial turmoil, some of them, where they may not be able to, for example, meet their daily requirements, their working capital, etc. So we want to give them a hand. There's obviously certain criteria in terms of their eligibility to access the concessional loans that we have offered. So small businesses will get up to $14,000. It's on a concessional loan basis. They have 5 years to pay it, 1 year grace period. It's a very simple interest rate, very good interest rate of 1%, a very simple way to pay it. And of course, we don't expect them to do monthly repayments. They can do a lump sum payment. Whenever they want to do the payment within that 1 year, they can do so, depending on the cash flow. And the collection agency will be FRCS, which makes it very easy for everybody. Similarly, for medium enterprises, we have a loan up to $21,000 that they can access. And again, the interest rate is very attractive, 1.5%, same terms in respect of being able to pay it for over 5 years, 1 year grace period. And for micro enterprises, the funding is up to $7,000, but it's applicable for existing micro enterprises, but also any new ones. As you know, that quite a lot of people have become unemployed in recent times. And I'll give you an example that we've been talking about quite a lot. There are certain people, for example, who may be working in the tourism sector. If somebody, say a pastry chef, he or she is no longer employed, and they, have the ability to run a bakery or pastry outlet, a small one, and they may need to, buy an oven. They may have some funding of their own, but they may need assistance for that. And this is where these organizations, apart from FRCS, they all come into play, because these organizations have actually agreed to do the assessment of all the applications. And we need to be able to, obviously, apart from the documentary requirements, in particular for existing businesses in respect of regarding, for example, the tax filing and being up to date with FNPF, etc., they will also be able to carry out an assessment as to whether these companies indeed are eligible or should be eligible for this concessional financing. They will also look at the merits of the application. And for example, the example that I did use about the pastry chef, they'll of course be able to say, yes, this person has a particular skill set. You may have, for example, somebody who's been working in the garment industry for a number of years who no longer has a job, because you must please remember that there are people in other sectors that no longer have jobs also. And maybe that person can buy a sewing machine. But it's not going to be a case of us giving out sewing machines to anybody who says, well, I want to sew. It's a question of seeing whether they have the capacity, they have the particular skill sets beforehand or not. Now, the beautiful thing about having these organizations help us is that they have the network, as I highlighted, for example, the Fiji Institute of Accountants. Obviously, there's 900 members. You have Women in Business that has a network, the Chambers of Commerce, the Commerce and Employers Federation. And they can very quickly do the assessments. And then we have the ability for them to be able to assist these businesses, for example, to do the cash flow, to be able to do some cash flow projections. That type of mentoring will also come into play, because we want these businesses, the existing ones, the small, medium businesses, to actually survive and thrive and be able to, hold their hand in this period. And some of them may not know how to negotiate, for example, with the banks, be able to know how to, do the cash flow, to do certain projections, because as you know, that there's a bit of a saying now that the only certain thing about COVID-19 is the uncertainty it presents. So we need to be able to understand that. And we then, of course, we have the micro enterprises. They'll be able to, do that assessment. We have a number of agencies through which these forms will be available through. I don't actually have the list here with me, but actually I do. We have, for example, these organizations. They'll have forms available in their offices where people can go and pick up the forms. They'll also have drop-off boxes in these offices. But apart from that, we also have the legal aid offices where the forms will be made available. The forms can also be dropped off in the boxes there. The BDM offices throughout Fiji will have those forms available. And of course, the drop-off boxes, and the provincial administrators and district offices, they'll also have these forms available. Now, we have the applications. The application forms will be available from the 8th of June, which is next week, Monday. And we have a close-off date, which is the 30th of June. So we have from the 8th of June to the 30th of June for individuals to be able to make these applications, and then the applications will be assessed. We were very, very concerned about ensuring that when we do roll out this program, this particular initiative, that is done with efficacy, is done with efficiency, and with customer focus. So by having this network of organizations and offices available throughout Fiji, we'll be able to respond to these applications fairly quickly, and in a manner that is not highly subjective. In fact, it will be very objective. And with particular criteria that's been rolled out, I've actually issued, or I've just highlighted to you some of the areas that they'll be looking at. One of the reasons why, of course, the two ministers are here is that the Minister for Commerce, Trade, Tourism and Transport is here, is because his ministry will also be involved with the Secretariat. They'll be providing the Secretariat services to these organizations when they carry out the assessment. They also have, a small, medium enterprise and micro enterprise division within their own ministry, so they'll be providing Secretariat services. And of course, the Minister of Agriculture is here because we also want to have a focus on the agriculture sector too. So if anybody, for example, puts in an application to say, I want to start a small micro enterprise in respect of, the agriculture sector, setting up something, then of course we'll have the Ministry of Agriculture do that assessment. Because, suddenly a lot of people want to get into farming, but to be able to start up a business, you need particular skill sets, you need a particular know-how, and for you to be able to be, access that particular concessional financing. I also like to acknowledge the presence of the Governor of the Reserve Bank of Fiji, who is here with us. As announced a couple of weeks ago, and also as announced in Parliament last week, you may know that government has been working with the Reserve Bank of Fiji for quite a few years now in respect of guaranteeing the 50% of the principal outstanding loans up to $50,000 for medium, small enterprises for the past number of years. It's been highly successful. The loan portfolio is quite large and very few defaults. Now, in order to be able to assist those businesses, and in fact the figure is that a total of 1,711 small businesses have been assisted with $104.6 million in outstanding loans. Mr. Speaker, sorry. Now the criteria has actually changed. We are now offering an increased guarantee up to 60% of the principal outstanding loan, up to a maximum of $60,000 per business. So it jumped from $50,000 to $60,000. We've also given another new incentive for those who want to invest in the agriculture, fisheries and forestry sectors, and women entrepreneurs specifically. So the guarantee has been increased for them up to 75% of the principal outstanding amount, up to a maximum of $75,000. So this is quite specific. And again, just for those you may not remember this, these guarantees are for those people who go out and borrow from the mainstream financial institutions, from your mainstream banks. So when they go to a bank, so for example, if I'm a hairdresser and I've got 3 chairs and I want to expand to 2 more chairs, and if I go to the bank and they need some form of security, they may know that you can do the repayments, but they don't necessarily feel secure about your assets. This guarantee scheme comes in, and the RBF steps in, and this is where the banks know that should the business fall over, at least now in this case, if you're a women entrepreneur, 75% of your principal outstanding, up to $75,000, will be paid for by the government through RBF. So that also is an initiative that's also being launched, and the RBF has already notified the banks, and they are immediately implementing that, and of course government is making an allocation for that. In respect of this particular scheme, we have allocated from now till the end of this financial year, which is 31st of July, we've allocated $5 million. We will also then, of course, we expect a lot of these assessments to be carried out and loans to be disbursed in the next month and a half or so. But we also look at how the scheme rolls out, and should it be highly successful and there be more demand by credible investors, credible businesses, then of course we'll be able to allocate a lot more funding in the new financial year too. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank these organizations once again. I'd like to thank the chair of FRCS for being here, and thank you for FRCS to agreeing to do this and not charging us any money for it too, to carrying out this service. And also all these organizations are also doing all of this ex gratia. We're not paying them any funds. The agreements that they signed today is certain level of quality assurance, certain level of obligations and the rights and the duties of both parties. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank them once again. This is a wonderful initiative, and I hope it will incentivize other organizations to participate and work together with government, because obviously the private sector is pivotal in our ability to be able to roll out many of these initiatives. So I'd like to probably take from my extreme right, invite the different organizations to say a few words, and I'd like to invite women in business. Thank you.
Honorable Ministers, Honorable Attorney-General, Women in Business was very excited and privileged to be part of this initiative. We look forward to receiving applications, assisting them, and passing them on in a timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable AG, Minister for Economy, PS Economy, PS Agriculture, PS MCTTT, and colleagues. FCEF is proud to be a part of this government initiative of Business Assistance Fiji, a proactive approach by the government to roll out assistance for our citizens who may have contemplated starting their own business but never got around to it. This now gives them an opportunity to do so. The initiative is also for MSMEs, which may need assistance during this difficult time brought about by COVID-19, as the AG has just mentioned. I would just urge businesses and the citizens to take advantage of this opportunity and grow and invest in their businesses. Now is the right time for them to do so. Thank you.
Honorable Ministers, PS, the Governor of Reserve Bank, my fellow members, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. I'm very happy to say that Fiji Institute of Accountants is part of this great initiative that the government has come up with. and we are going to fully support this scheme. In fact, this is the first time that we have partnered with government and other stakeholders such as Fiji Commerce and Employees Federation, Fiji Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Women in Business, FRCS, to collectively work together and support government initiative. We as an accounting body can add a lot of value for such projects. In these challenging and uncertain times, it is through such collaboration that we can play our part and take this nation forward. On behalf of our members, I thank our partners present here and look forward to work together to make this project successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Nitesh. AG, Minister for Commerce, PS, Minister for Agriculture, thank you very much. You're doing amazing work. And Governor of the Reserve Bank of Fiji and colleagues in collaboration to be part of Business Assistance Fiji. Fiji Chamber of Commerce is really, proud and happy to be part of this initiative because of many reasons. I mean, we've always been supporting SMEs, and what time than now to take that to another level. And we are really thankful to government for extending that hand to us and inviting us. On one Easter weekend, Sandeep and I were invited to come and work at the Ministry of Economy and the team from MITT. I still call you MITT, sorry, Minister. So we put it all together, and we were really happy that this is going to reach out to the people who really need it a lot during COVID, especially in terms of assistance, and we know there's going to be a huge uptake on that. Thank you very much, AG, for this, and government for putting this whole thing together. Governor, you've had a big hand in this as well. I thank you, and also thank you for the women focus in this whole thing. It's the first time, I have to say this as President of Women in Business as well, it's the first time for women in business to have an official partnership with government and in such an initiative. And so we are quite happy about that, in that there is a definite focus. And we know a lot of women are suffering out of COVID because women don't normally have access to finance. So this will give them a great opportunity. Thank you very much. And I'm happy to all our colleagues. What this has also done is brought the 4 different organizations together with FERCS. So this collaborative approach will be a role model to others. Thank you.
Sure.
Good morning. Thank you, Honorable AG, all the ministers and everyone present here today. FRCS is happy to be part of this initiative and to be the facilitating agency, and we look forward to working with everyone present here today. Thank you.
Maybe Doc, you want to say something?
Thank you, AG and members of the secretary team. It's really a pleasure to be here today and to be part of the announcement. Then, over the last 4 months, there's massive interest shown by people to get into agribusiness. They're now seeing agriculture as a profession, as a business, and for that we need some financial leverage. And often, people call me and say that, can you give us some money? And I say, look, we are not a financing institution. So here we go. I think this is a great announcement, Honorable Minister of Economy, that they could come. We will handhold them. We're happy to handhold them. We have now dedicated a person in the ministry to sit with them and get the idea and develop a proposal, fill up the form for Development Bank. And in this case, we will, this is another sort of a pool of money where we can assist them to get the paperwork ready, the proposal, the application form, take them and get them to access the fund. So this is an amazing opportunity, and I'm sure that those farmers budding entrepreneurs out there who get to hear about this will definitely be contacting us. We are happy to work with the team as well to get them to access the fund. Thank you.
Honourable Attorney-General, Honourable Minister, Permanent Secretaries, members of the respective organisations, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, just to pass on something, we were all out at Raki Raki Market just a couple of days ago, and the response to this initiative already is actually phenomenal. So just a little bit of information for all the organizations. I think you'll be very busy in the next couple of weeks with all of this. But a fantastic initiative. I know there's a lot of work that went on with it, and I think most of the stuff has already been mentioned by the Honorable Attorney-General. But one of the important things that we're actually trying to look at is how we can diversify and do a lot of things instead of reliance on something. And this is one initiative that's actually going to help people start thinking outside the box and doing things that, especially for the micro ones, because it's for existing and also for new, and also helping the medium and the small to grow. So just with those few words, I think thank you all to all the organizations that were involved for your assistance in getting us here, and especially to FRCS and to the Permanent Secretary Economy who facilitated everything really quickly, and to the Attorney General. Thank you very much.